Yo, what is good, YouTube? Krishan checking back in with another video. In the first update of the day, courtesy of Buys and Tries over on Instagram, Chad Nichols, the coach of Big Ramy, did say this is going to be a completely different Ramy than we've ever seen. And in all honesty, I believe this. As I've said numerous times, Ramy took a huge portion of last year off, let's just say at least 5 or 6 months. Nick Walker, Hunter Labrada, Ian Valliere, all these guys are training their heart out every day, putting down the food. Ramy is taking half the year off and was still able to win the Olympia last year. And I'm pretty sure we can all agree that last year was not a 100% Big Ramy. Now, we have seen Big Ramy training very hard lately, and it's going to be scary, guys. He won the title taking a lot of time off. So just this year with him putting in more effort, getting closer to 100%, Ramy is going to be very hard to beat. And honestly, as long as he nails his conditioning, I don't think that Big Ramy will lose the title. Now, the reason I chose these 3 poses in specific are because I think he's almost unbeatable in these shots. Most muscular, he's the biggest, most muscular guy on the stage. Side chest, in all honesty, I believe any bodybuilder in bodybuilding history will have a hard time beating Big Ramy in this side chest, let alone the guys that we have competing today. And once again, in the side tricep, he doesn't have the best arm. Ramy's arms are actually pretty good, but he's just so big, they don't look that good in proportion. But the detail in the side leg is just so incredible and the overwhelming size. I believe all 3 of these shots are pretty much knockout shots for Big Ramy. And let's not even start on the last spreads because of his width. And switching over to Nick Walker, who I think is a potential threat to Big Ramy, honestly, everyone in that top 5 is a threat. But I think Nick Walker's biggest challenge at this year's Mr. Olympia is going to be getting past the improved version of William Bonac. As you guys know, they were supposed to go at it at the 2021 Arnold Classic, but William Bonac was unable to make it to that show. Nick versus a new and improved Bonac, I think that's probably going to be one of the best matchups at this year's Mr. Olympia. And Nick definitely seems like he's made some improvements to his legs. Nick did say last year prior to the New York Pro or right after he suffered a slight quad strain, legs were down a bit for the Arnold Classic and really down at the Mr. Olympia if you guys look very closely. But this is Nick Walker's first true offseason. If you guys remember, as soon as he turned pro, he hopped into the Chicago Pro about 6 weeks later, had a small offseason, and then jumped into the New York Pro. Nick is a guy that likes to prep a bit longer, maybe 18 or 20 weeks. New York Pro to Arnold Classic to Mr. Olympia. Nick was constantly making improvements and is the 5th best bodybuilder in the world without even having a true offseason. So what is the mutant going to look like after having all this time to prep and come into this year's Olympia? And switching over to Michal Krizo, these are the latest updates from him. And we still don't know which show he's doing 100%, but I think he's probably going to do the Prague Pro Amateur and then hop into their pro show. I mean, it makes the most sense because he signed with the EVL List Prague Pro team. But this guy looks incredible, and Andrew Jack just had an incredible showing, so everyone is looking like, okay, Andrew Jack means business, so does Krizo mean business as well? You guys let me know in the comment section below. Do you guys think Krizo is going to make the same impact or maybe even a bigger impact over here in the IFBB than Andrew Jack did at the Texas Pro? And speaking of Andrew Jack, this was him prior to the Texas Pro. Now, going into this show, the footage that Andrew was putting up on his YouTube channel, there wasn't recent footage. He was putting up footage from a week or maybe 2 weeks old to have a lot of us guessing about the conditioning. And I also did not see this. If I would have seen this picture alone, I would have known that Andrew was probably going to be good enough to stack up with these guys, just looking at the shape and looking at the striations in the quads. But this guy looks incredible. Now, going into this show, I was saying he's going to need a little bit more separation in the side leg and in the hamstrings. And even at the Texas Pro, he could still use a bit more. But his wow factor and size was just so big, I guess it didn't matter. But I'm excited to see this guy at the Arnold Classic UK. And switching over to Phil Heath, he actually posted this up recently. And no, I do not think Phil Heath will be making a comeback to the bodybuilding stage. If you guys have been subscribed for a while, those are probably the video titles I hate the most on YouTube. Let these guys retire, man. But Phil looks incredible. The arms are still unbelievable. Better than pros we have competing today. The triceps, the forearms are just unreal. And Phil Heath will be commentating the live stream for this year's Mr. Olympia. A lot of people have it confused, saying he took Sean Ray's job and he's commentating the Olympia. Sean Ray may or may not be commentating the Olympia, but Phil Heath is doing the live stream for the Olympia, not the actual Olympia. And in the next update of the day, I thought this was pretty interesting. Blessing Awodibu posted this up today. I'm not 100% sure what age he was in this video, but he did say he was 187 pounds. Also not sure if he was natural or not, but that was just crazy, man. And of course, this is Blessing Awodibu today. Going into this year's Mr. Olympia, Blessing has definitely been doing a lot of talking, and he says he's basically going to be at the top 3 this year. And after Brandon Curry wins this year's Mr. Olympia, you know it's going to be the boogeyman's time. Now, I don't think Blessing will be in the top 3, but I do think he will definitely surprise some people. Remember, Blessing brings a wow factor. When you have that wow factor, there can be guys with better muscles than you, but you're just so big and so impressive, it doesn't matter. Look back to the Texas Pro, Andrew Jack versus Martin Fitzwater. In the next update of the day, this is the latest from Marc Hector. I believe we're about 6 weeks out from this Arnold Classic UK, and this is the best this guy has ever looked. He looks absolutely unbelievable. Now, going into this Arnold Classic, we have Andrew Jack, of course, Martin Fitzwater, as well as James Hollingshead. Including Marc Hector, that could very likely be your top 4 at this year's Arnold Classic. But let me know in the comment section below, what do you guys think about this guy's physique? I don't really feature him too much, but this guy, he could definitely shake some things up, man. And in the next update of the day, this is the latest from Justin Rodriguez, which he posted up today. And this physique update actually has me very excited. As you guys know, Justin did so many shows in the past year, it seems like his body wasn't responding. And he switched over to work with George Farrah, who's just killing it with guys right now. You know, Andrew Jack, Blessing, and Awodibu. And Justin Rodriguez's physique honestly looks a lot more fresh than what I was seeing prior. Now, Justin is still top 3 for points behind Theo LaGuerrier as well as Andrea Muzi. So even if he did one show, he'll probably have enough points to qualify. Justin hasn't named the show yet, but I'm pretty sure he wants to try to win a show. But Justin will be competing more this season. Or maybe he just tries to stick it out and wait to the Mr. Olympia, you know. Hopefully no one else can pass him in points. The most likely guy will be Steve Kuclo, and who knows what Kuclo is going to do. He might compete again, he might not. And in the next update of the day, these are the latest updates from Rafael Brandão. Now, with so much hype around all these more steady guys that are qualifying recently, do not forget about Brandão. This is probably my favorite physique in men's open right now. And I actually did a comparison of him to Blessing Awodibu. If you guys haven't seen that, just go check it out. I'm not going to ruin it for you guys. But this guy looks incredible. The roundness, he's so 3D, man. I'm excited to see this guy on stage. The only thing I'm worried about is how is he going to stack up with these guys size-wise. Because as far as shape and structure, Rafa is miles ahead of a lot of guys. And next up in the news, this is the latest from Quinton Eriya, who is actually 20 pounds above stage weight right now, and you guys can definitely see it in his face. But he says he wants to take advantage of this rebound, and I know a lot of guys are probably going to be like, you know, he looks better here. Why he didn't show up like this? And I'm pretty sure if he showed up like this, it's possible he would have been slightly more competitive, but definitely once he turned around, the feedback would have been, well, you need to be a little bit more conditioned. But overall, Quinton looks better, fuller, because he just needs to put on more size, you know. So instead of having to overfill, he just actually needs to take the time off and put on that muscle. And Quinton did say he's done competing for the year, and he's going to take some time off, maybe even 2023 or 2024 before he comes back. Because Quinton pretty much has everything he needs. He just needs a bit more size. Now, switching over to 212, this is the 3rd place finisher from the Texas Pro, Jordan Janowitz. And you guys are looking at a 20-week transformation. His coach is Andrew Vu. This guy looks absolutely incredible on stage, granted hard. Probably some Dorian Yates level of conditioning. And keep in mind, guys, this is just a picture. We all know that he definitely looked better to the guy sitting in the front row. But I'm excited to see this guy compete. And a couple of people said he actually should have won this show. What do you guys think about that? And next up in the news, this is the latest from Kamal Elgargni. And the caption of this was, he's coming for what's heels in December. So I'm guessing that means he's going to do the 212 Olympia. Now, Kamal stacked up very well in Tampa, you know, placed in 2nd. But it's possible that maybe in a more competitive lineup in Texas, he's seen that he probably won't be as competitive at the Mr. Olympia. Now, Kamal plans for this to be the last year of him competing unless he does the Masters. So I can understand him wanting to go into 212 and, you know, fight for that title rather than going to Open if he can win a show and, you know, maybe being 2nd or 3rd call-out. And switching over to Classic Physique, these are the latest updates from Michael Daboul at 5.5 weeks out from the Arnold Classic UK. And if you guys don't remember, he was the 5th place finisher at last Arnold Classic in the Classic Physique division. But at 5.5 weeks out, this guy's already more conditioned than a lot of guys are on stage. And he has definitely made some improvements since last year. This guy is tall, big, very imposing structure, and he also poses very good as well. Probably one of the most conditioned guys we have competing in any division today, and I'm excited to see him at this Arnold Classic UK. No one is talking about this guy. Once again, all the attention is just always on the top guys. But ending this video here with my archive of the day, a very easy one to guess. But if you guys can, try to guess the year as well as the placings of these two legends in the sport of bodybuilding. As always, I hope you guys did indeed enjoy this video. If you haven't done so already, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm Krishan from Go Fitness, and that's it. I'm out.